We continue with our series of selections from the HaChaim on Parshas HaShavua, and this series is dedicated lirefat Aриאלה, רינה, Bas Esther, בתושח בתושח Chol Yisrael. So, sorry, Menu sees Yishmael misbehaving, to put it mildly, and tells Avram to throw Hagar and Yishmael out of the house. Right, separate them from the family. You should not inherit together with Yitzchak. And Vayeira Avram al Odosber says it was bad. Avram Avinu found it, he thought it was a bad thing to do. So the pasuk, now, if we just said Avram, period, that would have been self-explanatory. It's a cruel thing to do. Avram Avinu, special beings, the midah of Chesed. But the Torah adds on, al odos beno, because of his son. Because of his son. What is the Torah adding over here? And it's also odos because of his son. I say al odos Yishmael. So the HaChaim first echoes an idea that's found in Onkelos and in Rashi, that because it is really over Yishmael, not over Hagar. And it's because Yishmael is still his son, and of course the main thing a tzaddik that like Avram Avinu would want for a son is to go b'derech yeshara, and like I said, he echoes Onkelos and Rashi that it's not that he was so concerned for Yishmael's survival. Yishmael's a tough guy, para Adam, pretty. You don't mess with Yishmael, as we know, as we see from our own times, but off the derech, which is the main thing, the main thing a tzaddik wants for his son is to go b'derech yeshara. He's afraid that Yishmael will go off the derech, so that he first initially echoes that idea, which could, like I said, be found in Onkelos and Rashi. He's concerned for his son going off the derech. That's what he told those bino. That was the real concern. Okay, but then he says something amazing. And he says, no, it's much deeper. And this is a very big nisan for Avram Avinu. He has to totally realign his perception of self, his perception of Yishmael, and his perception of the relationship between them. There's something really big that's going on over here. Really, really big. And we're going to read the psukim, with the emphasis that the HaChaim says to put on them. And you'll see that it's a very deep idea that fits so nicely like a glove on the most literal reading of the psukim. There's a very big transition, a very big, you call it inflection point. Really big. Something really big for Avram Avinu right now that's going on over here. So let's read the psukim together as the HaChaim says to read them, which is quite literal actually. Vatomer Lavram, after she sees Yishmael misbehaving, she tells Avram, Garesh ha'ama azot ve'espina, chase away this maidservant and her son, Kilosh ben ha'amazos, that the son of this maidservant should not inherit in B'nai Yitzchak with my son, with Yitzchak. Right? Send away this maidservant and her son, that the maidservant's son should not inherit with Yitzchak. Right? Vayeira Davra Be'nei Avram al odos b'no. Avram found that idea objectionable, right? Because it's his son. You're calling him, Hagar's son. Get rid of Hagar's son. This maidservant son will not be. He's my son. Al odos b'no. What do you mean? He's my son also, right? That's where Avram Avinu was, found objectionable. However you want to type Vayeira Davra Be'nei Avram, right? He found bad in his eyes. It's my son. You're calling him Ben Ha'amazos, right? You're calling him the son of the maidservant. It's my son. So what happens next? Vayam Elokim el Avram, Hashem says, Avram, Al Yira B'nech Al Na Avram Masecha, don't worry about the kid and your maidservant. Everything that Sarah tells you, listen to what she's saying. Listen, because she's saying b'nevuah, listen to her. That what? Stam to throw the kid out of the house? No, not just stam. Not just that. But ki beyitzchak yikar chazera. Listen to what she's saying, that kid is not really your son. Ki beyitzchak yikar chazera. So Shema B'kola is not just to obey her in throwing the bum out of the house. It's ki beyitzchak yikar chazera. Listen to her message that he's not really your son. Yitzchak is your son. So Shema B'kola is ki beyitzchak yikar chazera is goes together with Shema B'kola. Listen to what she said that you found so objectionable, that she calls Yishmael her son, her son, her son. That's right. She's right. It's her son, not your son. So you should, listen to her message of Ben Ha'amazos, because he's Taka, her son, and not your son. Is to be read together with Shema B'kola. Listen to exactly what she said that you found so objectionable. Listen to it. She's right. The kid is not your son. Yitzhak is your son, not Ishmael. Right? So it's a big nisan for Avram. He has to totally recalibrate his perception of himself and Yishmael, his relationship to Yishmael. And Avram Avinu rises to the challenge. So what does it say? V'ashkam Avram baboker. He gets up in the morning. V'kach lechem v'chemas. He takes bread and a jug of water. Vayiten el hagar, gets out some. I should put it on her. Ves hayelet, and the kid, not Beno, and the kid. Ves hayelet, v'shachai senza, right? Avram Avinu rose to the challenge and recalibrated his perception of self, his perception of Yishmael, and it was a very hard thing for a father to do, that he's not really my son, even though he gave birth to him and he raised him, invested a lot with him, gave him bris milah, did his best. Avram Avinu successfully recalibrated. He rose to the challenge and recalibrated his whole perception of who he is, who Yishmael is, and the relationship or lack thereof between them. He rose to the challenge, and it's not called Beno anymore. It's not called Beno, Ves Hayot, and the kid. He managed to rise to the challenge and emotionally, spiritually and emotionally, totally disassociate from Yishmael. All right, so it's a very deep thing for Avram Avinu, and you can understand why Avram Avinu found it so hard, and what Avram Avinu managed to, how he managed to rise to the challenge of a total recalibration of his perceptions. Yeah, an amazing thing. So I just want to add that Avram Avinu, the private citizen, right, rose to the challenge, right? But cosmically, there's still this confusion of Yishmael being connected to Avram Avinu. They still do bris milah, right? They still lay claim to Eretz Yisrael, right? And they still, even Avram Avinu disassociated himself. He successfully disassociated himself with Yishmael. He rose to the challenge after Hashem informed him that Sarah is right. She's not just being mean by calling it the maidservant's son. She is right, and he has to disassociate totally from Yishmael emotionally, right? But it doesn't change the fact that he davened in the past. Lu Yishmael yichel lefanecha, and we mentioned the Maharal in the Ner Mitzvah that all of Yishmael's koach comes from those 4 words. So Avram Avinu, as a private citizen, did the disassociation, right? But cosmically, there's still in the world there's this perception that Yishmael is connected to Avram, and he draws real power from that, which is causing us all the pain right now that we're suffering, and not just in Eretz Yisrael, now in New York City. All right, V'amevin Yavin. Everyone knows what happened last night, right? There's this koach that they have on loan from Avram Avinu, which is fake and stolen, but that's still the big correction. There has to be a cosmic correction that should become cosmic consciousness and the cosmic perception of ki beyitzchak yikra chazera, and that's only going to happen with the Gula Shlema. It should be bimheira b'yameinu amen, right? All these divrei Torah should be Lirfuas, Ariela, Rína, Bas, Esther, Refuah Shlema Tachmiyat b'toch shar chol Yisrael.